Hey, Frank Gustafson here, and I wanted to reach out to you with a message of hope and encouragement during this really challenging time. We're all in this together, and I want to share with you some ideas that I believe will make you stronger. Some of you may know that I'm a Ziglar Legacy Certified Trainer, and I also run a Sandler sales performance business here in Fort Worth. And I believe that right now, more than just about any time ever in my lifetime, the way that you think and your attitude is incredibly important. So to that end, I've invited Tom Ziglar, the CEO of Zig Ziglar, to share a couple of concepts that I believe that will benefit you. Welcome, Tom.
Hey, Frank. It feels like old home week here, right? Because we're family. You're a Ziglar Legacy Certified speaker and trainer, and you work with Sandler, one of our partners. So, man, I'm just grateful you're having me on. And, these are kind of interesting times. I call them crazy times, times that literally we need to stick together now more than ever. People need hope and encouragement now more than ever. So I'm grateful you're giving me a few minutes to talk to your community, to the people that you know and love and do business with. And so I want to talk today about a concept, a mindset called Stronger. And I'm going to share a couple of slides with everybody just so we can follow along. And Stronger is a choice. Stronger is an attitude. It's a belief. It's a mindset that I think if we all adopt during this time, not only for this time, but from now on, because there is no downside to this, it's going to allow you to be perfectly positioned to help more people to become the person that you've always wanted to become, even walking through the furnace. And you know what? I've talked to, dozens and dozens and dozens of people, business owners, individuals, people who work at large organizations, moms, dads, kids, and everybody feels the same way. We're kind of in this furnace, right? We don't know when it's going to end. We just know that it's never been this way before. Well, I've got good news for you. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it together, and we're going to be stronger because of it. And so I was thinking about my dad, and I was thinking, okay, if he were here, if he could give us some words of wisdom. Now, Zig Ziglar was my father, and we estimate impacted 250 million people in his life. I mean, he wrote 45 books in success and personal development. He might be the icon. So he always had a word, right? No matter the circumstance, he had a word. And so I thought, what would be his word for us today? And I found this quote, and I believe this is the Stronger mindset quote. Expect the best, prepare for the worst, and maximize what comes. So let me explain that. So expect the best. What does that mean? It means that when we're talking with our family, when we're on the phone, when we're texting, when we're social media, when we take a customer call, when somebody who we've lost touch with rings us up during this time, we bring it, right? We give them hope and encouragement. We bring an attitude that's positive and contagious. We know that tomorrow is going to be better. We know that things are going to go back to an even better position than they were before. Why? Because we're going to be stronger because of it. Now, why is this so important? Well, I'll tell you this. Scientifically, medically, we know for a fact that when you have a positive attitude, when your outlook is hopeful, when you believe the best is yet to come, when you know that you matter and you can make a difference in the lives of other people, when that is your outlook and your mindset, it boosts your immunity. So think about that. Your immunity is increased because of it. And what do we need in this time now? We need a strong immune system, but it gets better. You see, you can be positively contagious. You can share this mindset with everybody around you. And who knows, you're going to lift their spirit. They're going to feel better because of the time they spent with you. Their immunity is going to go up. And we don't know, right? Some of us, we're going to deal with this virus, and it's probably just going to be an inconvenience. But I do know this, if we work on our immunity, right? Physically, mentally, and spiritually, if we build our immunity up, maybe we'll build it up just enough to where it doesn't become a medical emergency. So here's the thing. When you expect the best, you're doing yourself and those you love a favor. And then you got to prepare for the worst. Well, how do you put those two right next to each other? Expect the best, prepare for the worst. Well, it's simple. This is what we mean by that. It means like wash your hands 20 seconds at a time, 20 times a day. I mean, constantly. You're maintaining physical distance from others. You're making sure your kitchen is fully stocked. You're checking in on those you love and making sure that they have everything they need. You see, when you prepare for the worst, you know you got it handled. You know that no matter what's next, you're okay. And when you put these two things together, it allows us to have this positive, outgoing, encouraging, hope-filled attitude with a solid foundation. And then finally, maximize what comes. Dad said this. He said, success is the maximization of the abilities that God gave you, the gifts that God gave you. Well, what does that mean? It means that today, when you talk to somebody, when you're with somebody in your family, with your kids or whoever it may be, if they need a little help, you give them a little bit extra. If one of your customers has a problem, you do everything you can to solve that problem and you give them a little bit extra. Because when we maximize whatever the situation is, then we're helping others, right? And the greatest way to help others is to love them, serve them, and help them solve their problems. But it goes deeper. You see, I'm a big studier, a big fan of the concept of legacy. And about 3 years ago, or 3 months ago, I wrote this definition. Legacy is intentionally preparing those you love to grow through life's most difficult challenges. The fact of the matter is your kids, your spouse, the people you work with, your friends, they're looking to you right now and they need some hope. If you're helping them to grow, right? If you're giving them ideas and encouragement and steps and how-tos on how to get through this challenge, then you're intentionally creating and building a legacy that will ripple through eternity. Reminds me of this. You know, the greatest generation, Tom Brokaw said the greatest generation was our parents and grandparents who fought in World War II. I mean, who's going to argue with that? You know, men and women went off to war, and they, when the war started, we were outgunned. We didn't have the materials, we didn't have the experience, and yet we went and we won decisively. And then this men and women, they came home and they were responsible for the greatest economic boom in the history of civilization. Of course, they were the greatest generation. But then my good friend Andy Andrews, who's an author and a speaker, he said, no, they're not the greatest generation. Their parents were. Think about it. Their parents, they raised the kids during the Great Depression who went and became what we know as the greatest generation. In other words, their parents were the greatest generation, and they did that. They created that when the time and the country was as tough as it's ever been. They worked sun up to sundown just to barely make ends meet. And these men and women, these young men and women who went off to war, they said, we don't have much, but we got each other. We got principles and values. We've got a stronger mindset that says, hey, as tough as it is, we're stronger because of it. We improvise and overcome. We go out and make it happen. I believe that we are on the forefront right now. We have an opportunity, a choice to make. We can literally be responsible for creating the greatest generation that our world has ever seen. And this is a global opportunity because everybody is being impacted. And so some of these ideas I want to share with you, some of these ideas come from a book called Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb. And I want to break it down to you because when I talk about stronger, I'm also talking about anti-fragile. So what is anti-fragile? Well, it's the opposite of fragile. What's fragile? It's easily broken. It's weak. It's something that a dog's tail could knock off a table and shatter it to smithereens. To me, that's fragile. We don't want to be fragile. We don't want to melt under the heat, right? We want to stand firm and strong. So what's the opposite of fragile? Well, most people would say, well, resilient, robust, durable, strong. Those are all good things. And we want to be those because they will allow you to withstand whatever happens. But at Ziglar, and I know Frank, you believe this with all your heart, we can do better than that. Instead of just saying, hey, you know what, we're going to be strong, or you know what, we're going to be anti-fragile, we're going to be stronger. And what it is, it's this belief that what comes against us, what's meant to tear us down, the shocks and stressors and mistakes and faults and attacks and failures, all of these things, what they actually do is they make us stronger. They make us better prepared. Oh, we've seen it all the time. We can look at our physical self. If we want to build muscle, we've got to literally lift the weights, tear the muscles down so they can come back stronger. If we want stronger bones, we've got to put stress and weight and tension on those bones so that they become stronger. Yes, physically, scientifically, medically, we know that we were created for a time such as this, that the things that come against us, they make us stronger. But I also want to share with you spiritually along the same lines. I was thinking of my dad, Zig Ziglar, his life verse. It's Romans 8:28. All things work together for good. Man, what an awesome concept that we're in the middle of this furnace. We're going through this trial, and yet we know it is meant for good. It's going to work together for good. And then I think of my own life verse. And Frank, I kind of, every time I see my life verse, I just kind of chuckle to myself because I picked it when I was 12. Okay. And at that time in my life, the idea of a trial was real simple. It was, what dessert am I going to pick from Luby's cafeteria? I mean, that was my idea of a trial. But look at this. Consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing the testing of your faith produces endurance. So the ultimate stronger mindset is this belief, this idea that we have hope in the future, that all things are going to work together good. And the tougher it is now, that's okay, because the stronger we will be. In other words, we're going to be positioned to where God can use us. And, different versions will say, hey, you know what? Do you feel like you're getting hit from all sides? Well, I do. Well, know this, that this pressure, with the stronger mindset, with this belief, this faith, the pressure is going to make you visible. It's this concept of a little candle in an extremely dark room shines brightest. We're in a dark room right now. The world needs you to step up, to be stronger. And of course, we know we've won. We know that we're promised trouble, and yet we've won. So this is the idea. This is the stronger mindset. It's something that I want to encourage you with, to every day. Take a few minutes every single day to fill your mind with the good, the clean, the pure, the powerful, and the positive, to understand that you were created for such a time as this, to go out and to be stronger, because your family, your friends, the people you work with, and those who you serve through your business, they need you right now. And Frank, I'm so glad that, you are one of our Ziglar Legacy certified speakers and trainers, and you go out and you share this also through Sandler and what you do to help businesses grow and to help individuals have the right mindset. And also know, Frank, that this video it's going to be shared. You're going to send it out, and probably somebody who doesn't know how to get in touch with you is going to be like, I need to know, Frank, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, Tom, man, first, thank you for that good word. That's awesome. Reminds me a little bit about what I heard from virtual church this weekend, and that is that this too shall pass. And man, we're coming through a time, and this too shall pass, and we need to come out stronger. I love your message. I'm here to help if anybody out there needs help. Probably the best way to reach me, call me directly on my cell phone, 817-771-1313, or just book a time to talk. Let's talk. Meetwithfrank.com, and let's book a short time to talk. And man, if there's any way that I can help you identify some specific strategies that'll help you become stronger through this time, just let me know, and I'm here to help. And Tom, thank you again for that great word this morning.
All right, Frank. Well, I'm blessed. I take legacy seriously, and I'm grateful that you are a part of the legacy. You're carrying on what we teach. And I can tell you right now that the world needs your message now more than ever. So thank you for allowing me to be part of this help for you. And guys, whether you know Frank or not, you need to know him. So I encourage you to book that call with him. You've got everything to gain. Thanks again, Frank. We appreciate you, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you, sir.